Hello there. I'm Dr. Cal Sellers, and I'm back. It's been a while since I've recorded anything. I'm going to just spend a minute, hopefully, giving us a little more guidance as to what we might do in order to be healthy in this crazy world. It's hard enough. Many of us have suffered some damage from early in life, and we're not easily becoming the pinnacles of health we hope that we are, or maintaining it. And people are doing a lot of crazy things to try to cheat that from. I mean, they've already been cheated. They're trying to cheat back to get their health to work. And of course, it doesn't take a lot to figure out that we should do that as much as possible in a natural way, if we can. Often it does not pay off to do unnatural things to try to override our body's natural efforts to compensate for the crazy world in which we live. Of course, many of us also have unhealthy lifestyles and so on and so forth that play into that. And so we're all just doing the best we can. And hopefully when we encounter some good information that helps us to recognize, hey, here's something you got to watch out for, you'll take that as a gift. Be like, hey, when I go to the store, I want to make sure that the food I buy is the best that I can buy. Even though I know the modern world makes that hard. We have packaging, assuming your organic food really is all organic and it's really been grown well and responsibly. And there are many crusader farmers out there. So there's a fair amount of that produce coming into our grocery stores. But assuming that it goes to a warehousing company of some kind, and they will put it in packaging. And the packaging has all been sprayed with pesticides and antifungals and just antimicrobials of all sorts. And so we're just getting this, and then the plastic, if it's packaged in plastic, maybe we're getting some microplastics from that, and so on and so forth. And it's just a challenge. You have to do everything you can, because there's going to be a lot of things you can't do, you can't fix. And but it's amazing. My experience has been that if you really do the best that you can, you tend to find out that you can do more than you think you can, and that if a lot of people are doing the best they can, things change. And so maybe we can do more for even things that seem out of our power than we initially think. Anyway, let me introduce you to the latest interesting challenge that I encountered. I don't know how long it's been around, but apparently it has become a thing for beekeepers to feed corn syrup to their bees, and then they extract it and call it honey. And of course, that's much cheaper. They can sell that for much more than it costs to buy corn syrup. And the bees are always bringing it in, no matter what the flowers are doing. And so it's a cheat. It's a cheat that is destructive to the health of their fellow man. So I want to introduce you to how to tell the difference. It's actually not difficult. I'm just going to want you to take this in for a moment. This first honey that I'm going to show you right here, this is from friends of ours. And they are crusaders, which if you have the choice, try to buy from a crusader. You don't always have the choice, but if you can, buy from a crusader or from somewhere that things just happen naturally and they aren't organized enough to try to cheat. So this is from a friend of ours who is a crusader. This honey is local. These have both been sitting out at the same room temperature for quite a while. There's a bubble up here at the top. You can't see it, but you will see it when I turn it upside down. When I do, I just want you to observe the rate at which that bubble goes up. You see that bubble going up? And that took about 4 seconds or so to get to the other end. The other thing you can notice while I'm holding it up is we're starting to get some crystallization around there. So there is a method of heating honey very quickly and cooling it just as quickly in order to break up those crystals. And many people feel that might damage some enzymes and damage some other nutrients and possible medicines in honey. And that if possible, we should get honey that has not been quote unquote pasteurized. They call it pasteurized, but it's nothing like pasteurizing milk or some other liquid where they're heating it to a really high temperature and keeping it there for a while. This is very quick. In my opinion, it is a negligible problem. It's a problem, but it's a little one. Much bigger problem would be honey that is not honey, that has corn syrup in it. I'm going to hide the brand, but I'm going to tell you that this honey says on the front of it, organic amber honey unfiltered. So I'm not going to show you the brand because obviously this is a very negative review on them. But here's the honey, and you can see the bubble at the top. Now, this is a smaller container, and you could argue that, well, I'm not really comparing two things that are the same, but what I want you to do is just take in the rate that that bubble will descend to the other end. Did you see that? It took about half as long for that honey to descend. And of course, there's no crystals or anything forming in there. This honey happens to be corn syrup. Now, I hid the brand, but the truth is the brand may not be the problem. The brand may simply have purchased honey from whoever. What works better in our area, we live where, in the Intermountain West in Wyoming, and we've got Miller Honey and Cox Honey, both of which are their own producers and then distribute to a wide area. And their honey tends to be much more, especially Cox. You're going to get real honey there. You're not going to get a lie. But this honey, which says, once again, it says that it is organic, unfiltered honey. I don't know what unfiltered means. Everybody strains it. But look at that bubble. Let's do that the other way. See that just rush? Now let's do this one again. There you go. Look at how much slower that's rising. Now, as a rule, darker honey is a little thicker. And if you have real honey side by side, it's a rule. And like every rule, sometimes it doesn't work. Even among light honey like this is probably mostly alfalfa. You can get, if you compare sweet clover, it's a little thinner. If you compare pea honey, it's a little thinner yet. So it's not 100%, but as a rule, if you got wildflower honey from Brazil and it's all organic and you compare it, it's going to be a little thicker than this honey, not thinner. See that slow moving bubble? Slow moving bubble there. Okay, one more time. There it goes. And then this bear, which is just as tall. Look at that. So when you see that, you're looking at corn syrup, not honey. And you can check it in the store. You do not have to take that home with you. I was in Ecuador recently, and I went into a shop in Vilcabamba, and I was looking for honey, and I ended up paying a lot of money for some imported honey that was all crystallized, because the only honey I could find in any of the stores was corn syrup. So that's kind of painful. But there you go. Hopefully a little thing to help you. And here's the thing. Get a bunch of us paying attention, not buying that honey. And guess what? The providers will start paying attention.